Canada just made a shocking deal that could end Tesla together with other major US automakers. Just take a moment to look around. It seems we're on the cusp of a new era, but few realize how fast the tides are changing. This is bigger than a trade war, and in this video we're breaking down Canada's shocking electric vehicle deal and its effects. From skyrocketing car prices to supply chain disruptions that could impact your next vehicle purchase. The stakes are massive, both globally and personally. And trust me, the biggest twist is still coming. So stick with me to the end, because this isn't just a story about trade deals. It's about how this could affect you, your wallet, and the future of transportation. The shocking 100% tariff on Tesla. What if every Tesla in Canada suddenly cost twice as much? Imagine walking into a dealership, ready to buy a sleek, futuristic electric vehicle, only to find the price tag has skyrocketed overnight. That is the reality Canadian Tesla buyers may soon face, thanks to a trade war that is spiraling out of control. Canada is pushing back against the United States' aggressive tariff policies, and Tesla has been caught in the crossfire. For years, the North American automotive industry has relied on seamless trade between Canada and the United States. Billions of dollars in vehicles and materials move freely across the border, fueling factories, keeping supply chains running, and ensuring competitive pricing. But now, Canada is considering a 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles as retaliation for the United States' latest trade barriers. If enacted, this would mean that a $50,000 Tesla Model Y could suddenly cost $100,000. The impact would be devastating, not only for Tesla but for consumers who have come to see electric vehicles as an accessible option. The shockwaves do not stop at Canadian buyers. Tesla's entire North American operation could take a hit. The company has relied on Canada not just as a market, but as a critical piece of its supply chain. If sales plummet due to these tariffs, Tesla's revenues could take a serious blow, making investors nervous and shaking confidence in the brand's future expansion plans. The electric vehicle industry is already facing significant pressures, from rising raw material costs to increasing global competition. Now, Tesla finds itself at the center of a geopolitical battle that could redefine its position in the market. The battle lines have been drawn, and Tesla is caught in the middle. But why Tesla? Why is this company in particular facing such a direct and powerful economic attack? Why Tesla is the perfect target? The hidden strategy. Why not Ford? Why not General Motors? Why is Tesla in the crosshairs? At first glance, it may seem like Canada's decision to target Tesla is random, but in reality, it is a carefully calculated move. Unlike legacy automakers, Tesla is uniquely vulnerable in this situation, making it the perfect target for Canada's retaliation strategy. Tesla's success hinges on a crucial factor: access to resources. The company depends heavily on Canada's vast reserves of lithium, nickel, and cobalt, three materials that are essential for manufacturing the advanced batteries that power its vehicles. Without these resources, Tesla's production could slow dramatically, forcing it to seek alternative sources in less stable or more expensive regions. Unlike Ford and General Motors, Tesla does not have the same level of political influence in Canada. Traditional automakers have spent decades building relationships with Canadian policymakers, securing favorable trade agreements, and embedding themselves in the nation's manufacturing landscape. Tesla, on the other hand, has remained more independent, focusing on direct sales and vertical integration. This independence, once seen as a strength, now leaves Tesla without the same safety net that legacy automakers enjoy. Beyond political considerations, Tesla's rapid rise to dominance has put it at odds with many established players in the auto industry. The company's market-shifting innovations have forced competitors to pivot their strategies, often at great expense. For policymakers who have long-standing alliances with legacy automakers, Tesla's unchecked growth presents a disruption that some may see as an opportunity to control. Targeting Tesla allows Canada to send a message not just to the United States, but to the entire electric vehicle industry. Tesla's unique position makes it an easy and effective target. However, this battle is about more than just a nameplate. Canada holds something even more valuable: the very materials that Tesla needs to survive. The real threat: how Canada can cripple Tesla's supply chain. Even if Tesla could afford the tariff, it might not survive what comes next. Selling cars is only part of Tesla's business. The real challenge lies in how the company builds them. Without access to Canada's critical minerals, Tesla's ability to manufacture electric vehicles at scale could be at serious risk. Battery production is the backbone of Tesla's success. Each vehicle relies on advanced lithium-ion technology. With materials sourced from around the world, Canada is one of the largest and most reliable suppliers of these raw materials, particularly nickel and lithium, which are essential for Tesla's battery packs. If Canada restricts exports or prioritizes European and domestic manufacturers over Tesla, the company will be forced to look elsewhere. An expensive and complicated task. China and Australia are two possible alternatives, but they come with significant risks. China's control over rare earth minerals and battery components has already created tensions with Western automakers. An increasing reliance on Chinese suppliers could make Tesla even more vulnerable to geopolitical shifts. Australia, while a potential supplier, presents logistical and cost challenges due to transportation and extraction complexities. If Tesla is unable to secure affordable and stable sources of materials, production costs could skyrocket. Higher costs mean higher vehicle prices, and as affordability declines, demand may fall. This creates a dangerous cycle. Tesla raises prices to maintain margins, consumers hesitate to buy, and competitors step in with more affordable alternatives. The tariff may be the immediate shock, but the deeper threat is this potential disruption in Tesla's supply chain. Without Canadian resources, Tesla's entire North American strategy could unravel. But even if Tesla manages to navigate the supply crisis, it may find itself facing an even greater challenge, one that has nothing to do with Canada. Why Tesla's biggest problem isn't Canada. While the headlines focus on tariffs and supply chains, a much larger shift is already in motion. Canada's potential pivot away from the United States is not happening in isolation. European automakers are watching closely, and they are ready to seize the opportunity. Canada's trade agreement with the European Union, known as the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, has already removed tariffs on a vast array of goods, including automobiles. European manufacturers such as Volkswagen, BMW, and Renault could now flood the Canadian market with electric vehicles that do not face the same barriers as Tesla. With easier access, competitive pricing, and established reputations, these brands are well positioned to capture a growing share of the Canadian electric vehicle market. The potential shift is not just about consumer preference. If Canada strengthens its ties with European automakers, those companies could gain priority access to critical minerals, further sidelining Tesla. This would mean not only a sales decline for Tesla in Canada, but also an increased competitive advantage for European brands in North America and beyond. Tesla's challenge is no longer just about fighting tariffs or securing supply chains. It is about maintaining its dominance in a rapidly changing global market. If Canada successfully shifts its trade focus, it could mark the beginning of a larger trend, one where the traditional North American auto industry loses ground to European and Asian competitors. The road ahead for Tesla is filled with uncertainty. The tariff war may just be the beginning of a broader restructuring of global auto trade. As Canada looks to new partners, Tesla must make a choice: fight to retain its foothold in North America, or shift its focus elsewhere before it is too late. Tesla's billion-dollar nightmare: how this war could destroy their market. For Tesla, this is not just about sales. The loss of a key market could trigger a domino effect that impacts its North American operations. If demand in Canada disappears, production could take a hit. When production slows, factories struggle to stay profitable. That puts jobs on the line and forces Tesla to rethink its entire North American strategy. It is a dangerous cycle, one that could lead to factory closures in the United States, Mexico, or even beyond. Tesla's investors are already feeling the pressure. Trade instability can send shockwaves through the stock market, and Tesla's valuation is particularly sensitive to global shifts. A drop in Canadian sales may not seem like a company-breaking event, but Wall Street does not see it that way. Investors worry about uncertainty, and uncertainty leads to panic. If Tesla's stock takes a major hit, it could have consequences that stretch far beyond this single trade dispute. Elon Musk has always had bold expansion plans, but those plans depend on Tesla's ability to navigate international markets. Losing Canada does not just mean losing a market. It means Tesla's path forward has suddenly become far less certain. Without a reliable presence in Canada, Tesla's North American dominance could be slipping. And if that happens, the competition is waiting to take advantage of the chaos. But the ripple effect goes even further. If Tesla has to adjust its production to account for lost Canadian sales, it could impact everything from supply contracts to dealership agreements. Tesla has built its success on aggressive growth, but any disruption to that strategy could have long-term consequences. The company's ability to innovate and scale could be put to the test like never before. And you know what that means: a price surge. This fight is not just about Tesla. Every car buyer in North America could soon feel the consequences. Canada is a major supplier of essential materials for electric vehicle production, including lithium, nickel, and cobalt. These raw materials are not just used by Tesla. They are the backbone of the entire electric vehicle industry. If supply chains are disrupted, the impact will not be limited to one company. It will be felt across every brand, every dealership, and every buyer looking for their next vehicle. With limited access to Canadian resources, battery production costs could rise dramatically. That would force automakers to pass those costs down to consumers, making electric vehicles significantly more expensive. But the effects do not stop there. North American manufacturing is deeply interconnected. Even gas-powered vehicles rely on Canadian-sourced metals for their components. If supply chains break, the cost of production will rise for every vehicle, regardless of its power source. For years, electric vehicles have been getting cheaper. As technology improves and production scales up, this trade war could undo that progress in an instant. Buyers who were considering an electric vehicle may find themselves priced out of the market. Even those looking for traditional cars may see higher price tags at the dealership. With rising costs across the board, affordability could become a major issue, slowing down the growth of the electric vehicle revolution, just as it was gaining momentum. And that raises a critical question. If cars are becoming more expensive and supply chains are in disarray, how will the industry adapt? The answer could change everything about North American auto production. Some companies may begin looking for alternative suppliers, but shifting supply chains is not a simple process. Building new partnerships takes time, and in the meantime, prices will continue to climb. Automakers may have to rethink their entire production strategies, potentially moving more manufacturing offshore to avoid tariffs. This could lead to job losses and major restructuring across the industry. There is also the issue of government intervention. If vehicle prices skyrocket, pressure will mount on policymakers to intervene. This could mean new subsidies for electric vehicles or emergency trade negotiations to ease tensions. But these solutions take time, and consumers are unlikely to see relief anytime soon. For Tesla, the stakes are even higher. The company has built its reputation on innovation and accessibility. If prices rise too much, Tesla's vehicles could become out of reach for many consumers. That would put the company in a difficult position, forcing it to either absorb some of the cost increases or risk losing customers to competitors offering cheaper alternatives. Meanwhile, the broader impact on the auto industry could be massive. Dealerships, repair shops, and suppliers all rely on stable production and pricing. If instability continues, businesses at every level of the industry could struggle. This is not just about Tesla. It is about the future of North American auto manufacturing as a whole. The death of the North American auto industry? Could this trade war collapse an entire industry? The answer might be closer to reality than most people expect. The United States-Mexico-Canada agreement was designed to keep trade flowing smoothly across North America. It has allowed automakers to operate seamlessly between these three countries, with parts and vehicles crossing borders multiple times before reaching their final destination. But if Canada turns its focus toward Europe and Asia, that agreement could fall apart. If trade relations between Canada and the United States break down, Ford, General Motors, and Stellantis could find themselves scrambling to rebuild their supply chains. The costs of production would rise, delays would become common, and uncertainty would push consumers toward more stable alternatives. If European automakers gain an advantage in Canada, they could begin to eat into North American market share, further weakening American automakers. Canada shifting its focus to Europe and Asia is not just a possibility, it is already happening. Trade agreements with the European Union have been expanding, and Canada has been positioning itself as a major supplier of battery materials for Asian manufacturers. The more Canada builds relationships with these global markets, the less it will rely on the United States as a trade partner. And if that shift continues, North American automakers could be left behind. What does this mean for Tesla? It means that even if the company survives the immediate impact of the tariffs, the long-term outlook is far less certain. Tesla has benefited from a stable North American market, but if that market fractures, Tesla may need to rethink its entire business strategy. And that leads to an even bigger question. If Tesla's position in North America is crumbling, could Elon Musk be planning a new path forward? Is Tesla looking for an escape plan? What if Tesla leaves North America behind? It may sound extreme, but it is not out of the question. Tesla is not just an American automaker. It is a global brand with manufacturing plants and supply chains stretching across multiple continents. The company has already made major investments in China and Europe, and if North America becomes too unstable, there are other markets ready to take its place. Tesla's factory in Shanghai has become a cornerstone of its global expansion. China has a massive demand for electric vehicles, and Tesla has positioned itself as a key player in that market. At the same time, Tesla has been expanding its footprint in Europe, where government policies are heavily favoring electric vehicle adoption. With strong demand in these regions, Tesla has options beyond North America. Elon Musk has never been one to wait around for a problem to solve itself. If the trade war between Canada and the United States continues to escalate, he could decide that shifting Tesla's focus elsewhere is the best move. That does not mean Tesla would abandon North America entirely, but it could mean that future investments and expansions prioritize overseas markets rather than domestic ones. This entire situation may be playing out as a trade dispute, but for Tesla, the stakes are much higher. The decisions made now could determine whether Tesla remains a dominant force in North America or whether it shifts its priorities elsewhere. And if Tesla makes that move, the effects will be felt across the entire industry, from automakers to suppliers to consumers. The trade war is not just about tariffs, it is about the future of the auto market itself. Canada's growing ties with the European Union, a global trade shift. Canada's pursuit of stronger connections with the European Union marks a turning point in global trade, especially for industries dependent on mineral resources and advanced manufacturing. While Canada once relied heavily on the United States to absorb exports of automobiles, metals, and other key commodities, that balance has shifted. Negotiators in Ottawa and Brussels have praised their shared commitments to lower tariffs and facilitate the flow of electric vehicle components, steel, and other strategic goods. As these new arrangements deepen, manufacturers across Europe are positioning themselves to take advantage of Canada's raw materials, including nickel and lithium reserves, crucial for battery production. Automakers on both sides of the Atlantic are not simply exchanging handshakes over these trade deals. They are already mapping routes for cost-effective logistics and streamlined regulations. Several European leaders have openly encouraged Canadian officials to accelerate exports of green steel and other clean technologies. This push aligns with broader global efforts to reduce carbon emissions, and the European Union sees Canada as a stable, resource-rich partner that can keep its electric vehicle revolution running smoothly. For Canada, stronger ties with Europe mitigate the risks of potential tariffs or trade barriers imposed by the United States. More than that, this collaboration presents an opportunity to diversify beyond North America, offering a market of hundreds of millions of consumers who have shown increasing enthusiasm for electrified transport. This shift in alliances is about much more than economics. Officials in Ottawa are signaling a readiness to respond in kind if the United States continues with aggressive policies that affect Canadian automobiles or metals. By fortifying partnerships across the Atlantic, Canada is ensuring that it will not be cornered by unilateral decisions from Washington. Such a strategy is also a reminder that trade is never static. As soon as one door closes or narrows, another door can open wider. Many observers wonder whether these closer relationships with Europe could evolve into something more comprehensive. The ambitious nature of these talks reveals Canada's determination to shield its industries from potential disruption. And as Canada solidifies this transatlantic bridge, the next question arises. What role will emerging giants in Asia play, and how might they compete with or complement the growing influence of the European Union in Canada's trade network? How China and Europe could replace North America as Tesla's primary market. Tesla has made headlines for its visionary approach to electric vehicles, but it now faces a situation where Canada's warming alliances with Europe could reroute vital resources and economic benefits that Tesla once enjoyed. The North American market has long been the bedrock for Tesla's growth, yet recent tensions between Canada and the United States threaten to undermine that advantage. Should Canada prioritize Europe in allocating lithium and nickel, Tesla might need to pivot toward other suppliers, many of whom reside in China or other Asian nations. China already plays a pivotal role in supplying electric vehicle batteries, from raw materials to advanced technology in battery cells. If Canada's resources become too costly or restricted for Tesla, the company could deepen ties with Chinese suppliers, even though that approach comes with its own complexities. Scaling production in Asia can be financially rewarding, but it may alienate North American and European consumers who favor more transparent or sustainable supply chains. On the flip side, the European Union's growing preference for green energy solutions might invite Tesla to invest further in European manufacturing, especially if factories near major shipping ports can source Canadian materials shipped directly east. While Tesla navigates these possibilities, European automakers could steadily gain ground in Canada. Companies such as BMW and Volkswagen already have global footprints and a history of collaborating with local suppliers to ensure compliance with environmental guidelines. If electric vehicle imports from Europe receive preferential treatment, then Tesla would be forced to compete on Canadian soil against well-established rivals. Some analysts predict that European automakers could secure favorable pricing on battery components if Canada chooses them as strategic partners. From Tesla's perspective, chasing new markets in Asia and Europe might appear the logical route if North American trade obstacles become insurmountable. However, that pivot could entail establishing additional factories overseas, juggling different regulatory frameworks, and managing shipping complexities that raise operational expenses. Meanwhile, Canadian officials, eager to spotlight local resources, may form deeper bonds with European and Asian automakers, effectively bypassing the American manufacturing ecosystem. With all these moving parts, Tesla's leadership must decide whether to continue battling unpredictable tariffs and trade regulations, or to proactively shift strategic focus. Even though the company revolutionized electric vehicles, it cannot escape the realities of global politics. If Canada fully embraces Europe and China remains a dominant supplier of batteries, then Tesla might discover that North America no longer represents its strongest base. That scenario raises another critical question. If Canada and the United States clash over more than automobiles, could energy exports become the next battleground? What happens if Canada blocks energy exports to the United States? Much of the discussion about tariffs has revolved around automobiles, but Canada's energy exports to the United States remain a colossal factor in both economies. Oil, natural gas, and hydroelectric power flow across the border on a daily basis, fueling factories, homes, and transportation networks. A serious strain on automotive trade could spill over into broader resource conflicts, prompting Canada to restrict these energy exports. Such an action might sound drastic, but officials in Ottawa have hinted that no sector is off the table if the United States continues to impose measures viewed as damaging to Canadian industries. If Canada were to slow the flow of petroleum or natural gas, the consequences could be immediate and far-reaching. The United States might witness elevated fuel prices, factory slowdowns, and discontent among drivers already frustrated by rising electric vehicle costs. Canada, however, would also suffer financially if energy revenues dipped substantially. Still, political leaders might judge that diversifying energy exports to European or Asian markets provides a strategic advantage, especially if those regions offer more stable agreements free from sudden tariff shifts. An even more dramatic scenario involves Canada leveraging hydroelectric resources as a bargaining chip. Several regions in Canada boast significant hydroelectric capacity, much of which is sold to states like New York. If that power supply were curtailed or rerouted, American cities could face higher electricity rates. These possibilities appear stark, but trade wars often escalate in unexpected ways, and energy is a potent lever that Canada holds in reserve. In tandem with potential energy redirection, Canadian partnerships with Europe could deepen further. The European Union has been searching for cleaner or more diversified energy sources, and Canada's hydroelectric or liquefied natural gas exports might fit that agenda. A more robust energy alliance between Canada and European nations would reduce reliance on shipping resources to the United States, carving out new commercial corridors. This dynamic scenario forces Tesla and other North American manufacturers to wonder whether they should move their operations to places where resources are more assured. The relationship between Canada and the United States has historically withstood disagreements, yet the possibility of an all-out trade conflict featuring energy restrictions would mark a profound turning point. At that juncture, automotive disputes would be just one puzzle piece in a vast geopolitical realignment. Will cooler heads prevail, or is this divide deep enough to reshape the entire continent's economic landscape? That question brings us to a final consideration. How permanent might these changes be? And does this represent a fleeting standoff or a monumental shift in global trade itself? What's your your thoughts on this? Let's talk down in the comments. Thanks for watching.